Tech stocks are reeling after an artificial intelligence app from China unveiled new tech some say rivals OpenAI ChatGPT. Analysts say the company appears to have created its own AI technology comparable to ChatGPT at a fraction of the cost. Now, DeepSeek is the most popular free app in the Apple Store, and American tech stocks like NVIDIA, Microsoft, and Oracle are all down. Senior economic analyst from Bankrate, Mark Hamrick, joins me now for more on that. Mark, thanks so much for coming on. So explain this like we're five, right? What sets DeepSeek apart from American AI companies, and what's the potential impact?
Yeah, what's interesting in the stock market is essentially those who thought that spending would be much more robust in this space at higher prices for companies like NVIDIA or Broadcom are now concerned that, well, maybe some of those profits and some of that spending is put at risk, because if what we're told is true, the creation of this new app, this new technology, a large language model called DeepSeek R1 was done with less resources, less cost, more efficiency. Ultimately, this is a good thing for all of us, because that means that we don't need to have the equivalent of a moon race like the Apollo 11 mission to the moon to get this done. It might be something much more efficient and less costly. And the other interesting thing about this is that it was done using open source rather than sort of doing it in a closed information environment. So collaboration appears to have been one of the keys here. And by the way, the Chinese are supposed to have been essentially limited with respect to their technology purchases because of export controls. And so if those guardrails were in place for this, and we don't necessarily know that that was entirely true, or at least Biden, they did it with less sophisticated technology, not the top of the line stuff. And so this is why Wall Street and others are scratching their heads going, maybe some of the things we assumed earlier weren't always true.
Some are also saying they did it with just $6 million, which is, a tiny fraction of what OpenAI has spent so far. Where's that number coming from, and how significant is it if it's true?
Well, I think we always need to take information somewhat with a grain of salt when it's coming from China. But let's just say that it is highly credible. That means that it's done at a 10th or 100th of the cost of some of the other rival technologies. And, the assessments have been that the product is as good as many of the rival products out there, maybe Google's Gemini being the exception that's still higher on the top of the list. Listen, we've known for quite some time that this was going to be a global AI arms race, and incumbents don't always win the race. We can think back to the early days of the internet, where some of the very first search engines aren't around any longer. Sometimes it's the second, third, fourth generations of technology that prevail. And so this does underscore why it's important for the U.S. to continue to maintain a very strong position, which gets not only to essentially the processes of efficiency and cost management or expenditures, but also the hardware investment that is required for getting AI done.
My MySpace account agrees with you there, Mark. Yeah. Bankrate senior economic analyst Mark Hamrick. I'm sure we're going to be talking a lot more about this over the next few days. Mark, thank you.
Thank you.